Geeta Mohan and you're watching India Today Global. Now, a day before the second anniversary of the deadly Hamas attack on October 7th, delegations from the Hamas and Israel hold talks in Egypt's Sharm el-Sheikh. Steve Witkoff and President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, too, joined the peace talks. But as talks for the future of Gaza takes place, 8 seekers along with 10 Palestinians have been killed. US President Donald Trump has urged mediators to move fast to end the war in Gaza. In southern Gaza, the condition of displaced Palestinians have worsened. The Hamas delegation is being led by Khalil al-Hayya, the head of this group's negotiating team, who was targeted in an assassination attempt by Israel in Qatar last month. US, along with Israel, has been demanding Hamas's disarmament and the immediate release of 48 hostages. The discussions are expected to last at least a few days. Though the 20-point plan does not mention a separate Palestine state, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi said real peace in the Middle East will come only with the creation of a Palestinian state based on the principles of international legitimacy that restore rights to their rightful owners. Rohit Sharma joining me for more on this from Washington, D.C., keeping a close eye on how U.S. is looking at things moving forward. Rohit, a very important meeting after a long period of killings and deaths that we've seen in Gaza. What are the hopes of the Trump administration in actually seeing things move forward, with both sides holding on to their points of either disarmament on the one hand and hostage release on the other?
Well, look, I think President Trump's made it very clear. He's saying that this is a great deal. Everybody should accept it. He's even gone as far as saying that this could be the week. We could probably see some progress on his 20-point plan, and then he's expecting at least the violence to stop, the killings to stop essentially, and then finally getting those hostages back, the prisoner swap, and then food and aid getting to Gaza. That's the first part of his plan, which he's hoping we'll have a deal by the end of this week. He's pinned his hope on this plan. And he's obviously sent, very important people to ensure that this plan succeeds. So he's putting a lot of hope that at least the phase 1 of this 20-point plan could be, put into action and be agreed upon in Egypt.
Right. Rohit, you speak of important people. Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, the man who actually initiated and was the brain behind the Abraham Accord. And now we're looking at Jared Kushner being here at this crucial juncture where the family earlier had said that they're going to take a back seat when it comes to diplomacy and engagement and official work. But this time around, for this, Jared Kushner very much there. There was an entire series of photos when Israeli Prime Minister was in Washington, D.C., where he was handing over that letter, which was then later read to the Qatar Prime Minister expressing regret.
2 things on that, Geeta. First, President Trump trusting loyalist, somebody close to his family, to deliver him a big win. Second, the extent of which, Jared Kushner was involved in the first Trump administration. He obviously was very involved with the Abraham Accords, and he has built those relationships. So President Trump is trusting his son-in-law to deliver a big win for him and, honestly, to end this war, which has been going on for almost 2 years in less than 12 hours from now.
Well, that's right. Now, the crucial talks are on. It would take a few days. We're also looking at the Nobel Prize, Peace Prize, that will be announced a few days later. Do you think the rush and the hurry is because President Trump wants a conclusive agreement between the Hamas and Israel just ahead of the Peace Prize?
It could all very well be one of those things that President Trump has himself said publicly, that he doesn't care about who they give this Nobel Peace Prize to, not too long ago. So yes, but if he's able to achieve something, makes a stronger case for President Trump to win Nobel Peace Prize, and which he has been claiming that he deserves more than anybody else. So yeah, we'll have to wait and watch, but could be a good, a compelling reason for Nobel Peace Committee to take a look at it and award him the prize.
Well, exactly, and if not this year, maybe next then. Rohit Sharma, thank you so much for joining me. Keep tracking developments over there. October 7th is tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of development in terms of how D.C. observes that second anniversary of Hamas attack in Israel. Thank you so much for joining me for now. Now, as more flotillas with aid are being intercepted by Israeli forces, 29 activists have been deported for being part of the flotilla, which had set sail in August to deliver aid into Gaza. This was the latest attempt by the activists who challenged the Israeli Navy blockade. So far, Israel has deported at least 170 of the 450 activists it had detained. Netanyahu government has been accused of mistreatment. Some activists also allege that they were denied access to their lawyers, a claim the Israeli Foreign Ministry denies. The ministry said that the legal right of the activists were being fully upheld. Flotilla organizers said that claims it was carrying little to no humanitarian aid were false. A new flotilla comprising 11 vessels is attempting to make its way to Gaza, including a vessel carrying medics and journalists. The 137 activists from 14 countries who had participated in the global Sumud flotilla were deported to Turkey. The U.S. Treasury is considering making a $1 coin featuring President Donald Trump to commemorate 250 years since the Declaration of American Independence in 2026. Images of the potential design showed Trump holding a raised, clenched fist on one side of the coin alongside the words, "Fight, fight, fight," a reference to what he said immediately after surviving an assassination attempt last year. The other side of the coin shows Trump in profile with the word liberty above him and 1776 to 2026 written below, according to images shared by Treasurer Brandon Beach. Congress in 2020 passed a law that allows the Treasury Secretary to mint $1 coins in 2026 with designs emblematic of the U.S. semi-quintillion year. President Donald Trump said the administration's efforts to fight drug cartels near the Venezuelan coast has been very successful. The strikes on small boats have been successful to the extent that no boats are left in that area of the Caribbean. Trump said this is Norfolk, where he attended Titans of the Sea, a salute to the fleet, commemorating the U.S. Navy's 250th birthday. U.S. forces hit another vessel allegedly carrying illegal drugs off the coast of Venezuela on Saturday evening. Trump said during his remarks, adding that the U.S. would also start looking at drug trafficking occurring on land. However, Democrats and many legal experts question the legality of using lethal force in foreign or international waters against suspects who have not been intercepted or questioned.
In recent weeks, the Navy has supported our mission to blow the cartel terrorists the hell out of the water. You see that? And you know, there are no boats in the water anymore. You can't find any. We're having a hard time finding them. But, you know, it's a pretty tough thing we've been doing, but you have to think of it this way. Well, they're not coming in by sea anymore, so now we'll have to start looking about the land, because they'll be forced to go by land. And let me tell you right now, that's not going to work out well for them either.
On Statecraft today, we discuss Pakistan's multi-pronged strategy. In fact, a three-pronged strategy where they had China on the one hand, Turkey on the other, and now in latest report, we're looking at Pakistan offering itself to U.S. for a port in the Arabian Sea, as also their rare earth minerals and a drone facility. How does India plan to counter this three-pronged strategy of Pakistan? Take a look at an excerpt of Statecraft here. Pakistan is quietly redrawing its map of alliances, from offering the United States a $1 billion deepwater port on the Arabian Sea to giving Turkey 1,000 acres of land in Karachi, and all while balancing its long-standing ties with China. Islamabad seems to be signaling a bold new foreign policy reset. Behind these moves lies a country desperate for economic revival, global legitimacy, and strategic leverage in a region shadowed by rivalries and shifting powers. But as Pakistan courts both Washington and Ankara without alienating Beijing, what does this recalibration really mean for India? Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. Pakistan's coastline along the Arabian Sea, long seen as China's strategic playground, is suddenly back in Washington's viewfinder. Islamabad has reportedly offered the United States a deepwater port at Pasni, just 100 kilometers from Beijing's flagship Gwadar port, and revived talks on a shared drone facility. Imagine, Beijing and Washington, a sign that Pakistan may be quietly recalibrating its foreign policy. At the same time, it is offering 1,000 acres of free land to Turkey for an export zone in Karachi. 3 moves, 3 directions, and 1 message. Pakistan is repositioning itself, but this shift has ripple effects beyond its borders. For nearly a decade, Pakistan's geopolitical compass pointed firmly toward Beijing. Gwadar, the jewel of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, that Cpec, symbolized that alliance. A deep water port, highways and pipelines connecting Western China to the Arabian Sea. But 2025 has brought new overtures. Pakistan is now knocking on Washington's door, offering both infrastructure and intelligence cooperation in return for investment and legitimacy. Viral images from that visit showed Munir presenting Trump with a wooden box containing samples of rare earth minerals, a subtle advertisement of Pakistan's untapped resource wealth. Under the proposed plan, the United States would finance and manage a terminal at Pasni to facilitate access to Pakistan's mineral resources, copper, gold, and rare earth elements essential to modern defense and technology industries. The blueprint envisions a rail corridor linking the port to mineral-rich western Pakistan. If Washington takes up Pakistan's offer, the US would be positioned between 2 rival ports, one Chinese, one Indian, and for the US, a listening post. But the Pasni port is only part of a broader pivot. Alongside the port, Pakistan has reportedly offered the US access to a drone facility or related military infrastructure. While details remain confidential, credible sources confirm that Islamabad has extended such offers to renew counterterrorism cooperation and perhaps to regain American trust lost after years of strained relations. In April 2025, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif offered Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan 1,000 acres of free land in Karachi Industrial Park to build a dedicated export processing zone. The idea is simple: attract Turkish companies, expand bilateral trade to $5 billion, and position Turkey as a long-term industrial partner. The offer is not purely economic. Ankara had openly backed Islamabad earlier in 2025 during Operation Sindoor, a brief but tense confrontation with India. Many in Islamabad see the Karachi EPZ as a symbolic thank you, an anchor for Turkish investment and influence in Pakistan's commercial capital. The larger picture is clear. Pakistan is building new partnerships across the West and Islamic world with the United States for security, with Turkey for manufacturing, and with China for security and infrastructure. But balancing these interests is far more complex than it appears. For India, this recalibration is not a distant dream. Each of these developments, the Pasni port, the drone facility, the Turkish EPZ, carries direct security and economic implications. For Washington, too, the choice is complex. Engaging Pakistan offers short-term operational convenience, access to minerals, intelligence, and ports. But it risks alienating India, a far more stable and valuable partner in the Indo-Pacific. The US must weigh whether a Pasni foothold is worth unsettling the balance with New Delhi. Here are some other stories from across the world in World at a Glance.
France's new Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu and his government resigned hours after the announcement of the cabinet. The resignation makes it the shortest-lived government in modern French history, driving stocks and the euro sharply lower. Lecornu was Prime Minister for only 27 days. His government lasted 14 hours. A Trump-appointed federal judge in Oregon temporarily blocked the deployment of National Guard troops from anywhere in the US into Portland. The decision comes after officials in both Oregon and California objected to Trump reassigning federalized guard troops in Los Angeles to Portland. Military and emergency personnel in Nepal continued rescue operations after torrential late-season monsoon rains triggered widespread landslides and flash floods, killing at least 50. 9 people were missing after being washed away by floods, and 3 others were killed in lightning strikes elsewhere in Nepal. American scientists Mary Branco, Fred Ramsdell, and Japan's Shimon Sakaguchi won the 2025 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for their discoveries in peripheral immune tolerance, creating openings for possible new autoimmune disease and cancer treatments.
That's all in this edition of India Today Global. Do keep watching India Today for all the latest news and updates.